The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has released and it has been receiving rave reviews from critics. In fact, as of this recording, Nintendo's Breath of the Wild sequel has an impressive 96 Metascore based on 87 reviews, which places the game close to the highest percentile of games reviewed within the last few years. Hell, if we're going by reviews alone, Tears of the Kingdom looks to be a good time. And with the game being a critical darling, you'd think that Nintendo fans and Zelda fans would be happy with the game's review scores. You'd believe that the critical praise would have them riding higher than High on Fire. But here is the thing, many Nintendo and Zelda fans are upset because of how an unspeakable tragedy has befallen Tears of the Kingdom's pre-release. In fact, the game and its fandom have experienced a calamity on par with Ganondorf's nude photos being leaked via the poor security on the Hyrule Castle Wi-Fi. And this injustice in question isn't how that a reviewer dared to give The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom a 6 out of 10. Yes, that's right. The source of much Zelda fanboy consternation is that one solitary reviewer gave the game a mid-score. Oh, the calamity. And to drop the bit now, Jesus tingle fucking Christ. Are we really doing this song and dance again? You know, after the Nintendo and Zelda fandom had an online meltdown back in 2017 when James Stephanie Sterling dared to give Breath of the Wild a 7 out of 10. And honestly, do we really need a Groundhog Day, this whole discourse with the new Zelda all over again in 2023? The year of our Lord, the year when Meet the Feebles became canon with the Muppets? For fuck's sake, everyone. Like, come on, y'all. This Tears of the Kingdom score is just one review. Calm down. Everything is gonna be okay. I promise it's gonna be fine. Because honestly, not all reviews need to be uniformly in sync, because truly, that's not how artistic opinions work. After all, even the most subjectively well-crafted experience can have detractors, and no one can control that, because that's how an individual reviewer, audience member, or player feels about a given work. We all have our own experiences both in life and with past media, and those aforementioned experiences shape our approach of how we experience that said media in the present and in the future. And a review is just supposed to reflect one person's opinion and approach to a specific artistic piece rather than act as some form of validation for an excited fandom that is gearing up for a blockbuster release in a beloved franchise. And in regards to Tears of the Kingdom, the review in question, the one by Gfinity's Josh Brown, the one that has transformed Tears of the Kingdom discourse into one being the Tears of the fandom, embodies this too. In fact, the review can be summed up as being from someone who misses non-open world Zelda titles like Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, and etc., i.e. older 3D Zelda titles that were able to hone in and focus on design and narrative elements that really made the series strong, something that the reviewer believes that modern Zelda titles are missing due to how the open world dilutes that aforementioned focus that was present in the earlier 3D Zelda games. And honestly, that is a fair critique. After all, not every franchise or property needs to be an open world experience. Halo. Some games are better when they're smaller and linear. Halo. And the review just details that perspective very well. The writer really gets the point across. Additionally, it's important to note that reviews that go up against a popular consensus are valid. After all, whether something is praised or panned, there will always be critics and audiences who have a take that go against the critical consensi, meaning that there should always be reviews that reflect these opinions, especially if it's a new installment in a historically beloved series that has made drastic changes in recent years, just like the two most recent mainline Zelda games, because obviously there are those who don't enjoy the way that the Zelda series has changed in the last two games, even despite their critical acclaim. And honestly, Brown's Tears of the Kingdom review reflects that perspective that some Zelda fans have, and for that, his review has just as much a right to exist as the ones heaping endless praise on the game. Now with that said, some might ask whether or not the review is correct, whether or not it is factual, but I think that is the wrong question, because obviously, media is subjective. The correct question that fans should ask is whether or not they agree with Brown's take, and that's something that we will all decide once we play a meaningful chunk of Tears of the Kingdom. We will all play the game for ourselves and form our own opinions. We will create our own internal reviews and perspectives here, because that's how opinions work. And while it's okay to disagree disagree with others' opinions and engage in fair artistic debate, I have seen the comments from Nintendo gamers and Zelda fans that were posted even before the game was released, and honestly, none of that qualified as healthy fucking discourse. It was just mean-spirited towards a critic and honestly a longtime Zelda fan who didn't give the game the high score that those readers and commenters wanted, which is honestly just not a good look for the Nintendo or the Zelda fandom. On another note, I just want to say that reviewers and websites are not a monolith. In fact, the people that work at a given website generally have varying opinions on about everything. Hell, at Gfinity alone, there will probably be people who will enjoy Tears of the Kingdom more than Brown, and there's possibly those at the site that will enjoy the game less. If anything, Gfinity's review is just Brown's take on the game. It's just his opinion alone, and it was not an attempt to have the outlet or the writer stand out by being a hater of the game, you know, like some online have claimed. And I'm gonna assume that Brown received the review copy from his outlet due to the fact that he is knowledgeable and a fan of the Legend of Zelda IP, rather than some nefarious conspiracy on Gfinity's part to mine for hate clicks, which is just a claim that is honestly conspiracy theory bullshit. It's not a criticism that reflects reality. So I hope Nintendo and Zelda fans can cut Brown some slack, because he clearly has a love for the Zelda franchise, even though he finds the recent direction that the series has been taking as of late to be lacking. And that's an okay opinion to have, because once again, we are all allowed to have our own takes on Tears of the Kingdom, and we can all decide whether or not we agree with somebody else's take. It's fine, and the Nintendo and Zelda fandom needs to just calm down so that they can spend more time enjoying the title, because this obsession that many fans have with all review scores aligning in order to confirm their own biases just is not healthy. It is not conducive to a good environment that invites good critical discussion. So Nintendo and Zelda fans, please stop sending the reviewer mean and nasty comments online. It'll be okay. You really don't need to do that. You really don't need to tear a new kingdom into a critic's asshole. And with that, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like rating, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment telling me what you thought of this mess. Also, please consider checking out my Patreon page. $1 a month gets you onto this credit sequence, and $5 a month allows you to make review and impressions requests. The link to my Patreon is in the description. And speaking of Patreon, I just want to thank my patrons, particularly my high tier ones in Samantha Devlin, Mom, and Morgan. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. Love y'all.